In modern warfare, numbers often tell a compelling story, but not always the whole truth. As Russia continues its protracted war in Ukraine, battlefield losses mount daily. Tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery systems are destroyed or captured at staggering rates. And yet, reports from Western intelligence and defense analysts suggest something unexpected. Russia is not just surviving this war of attrition. It's preparing to replenish its forces in volumes that could shift the long-term balance of power. How is this possible, and what could it mean for Ukraine and its Western allies? Let's find out. Can a nation suffering heavy losses really plan for expansion? According to U.S. General Christopher G. Cavoli, Russia is on track to receive around 1,500 tanks and 3,000 armored fighting vehicles in 2025. This includes a combination of newly manufactured, modernized, and refurbished units. Such numbers are staggering, considering the scale of Russia's reported losses in Ukraine. How is this industrial feat even possible? Russia's defense sector has managed to ramp up production to levels not seen since the Cold War. In 2024 alone, it reportedly produced 250,000 artillery shells per month. That outpaces the combined efforts of the US and Europe, which produce about 110,000 shells monthly. If accurate, these figures indicate that Russia's military-industrial complex is not only functioning, it's thriving under pressure. But can Russia keep this up? Analysts believe the defense industry may already be operating at its peak capacity, particularly when it comes to building new T-90 tanks. Much of the projected equipment replenishment will likely depend on refurbishing older stockpiles rather than building entirely new machines. Moreover, this replenishment strategy highlights a shift in Russia's wartime logistics. Instead of waiting to recover from its losses, Russia is attempting to build forward, gambling that it can outlast and outproduce Ukraine and its backers. This production-driven momentum might enable Russia to maintain the initiative, even while losing equipment daily on the front lines. Surprisingly, the answer may be yes. Analysts believe the defense industry may already be operating at its peak capacity, particularly when it comes to building new T-90 tanks. Much of the projected equipment replenishment will likely depend on refurbishing older stockpiles rather than building entirely new machines. Experts estimate that even if Russia dedicates up to 40% of its state budget to war expenditures, it would still represent only about 7% of its GDP. For comparison, during the 1980s, the Soviet Union spent up to 20% of its GDP on defense, eventually contributing to its economic collapse. In fact, much of Russia's projected force growth is based on its ability to reactivate and modernize thousands of legacy tanks from Cold War-era storage facilities. According to a recent report from the International Institute for Strategic Studies, Russia may have the potential to field up to 3,300 tanks by 2027. But there's a catch. Many of these tanks would likely be outdated models, such as the T-62 or early T-72 variants, which are no match for Western armor unless significantly upgraded. What about manpower? Where will Russia find the people to operate all this machinery? Here too, demographics favor the Kremlin. By 2035, Russia is expected to have around 20 million men of military age, around 20 to 44 years old, more than the entire population of Ukraine as of 2023. This vast manpower pool, combined with economic incentives, could keep Russia's ranks filled for years to come. That said, manpower alone isn't enough. Effective training, morale, and leadership play crucial roles in turning recruits into capable soldiers. Russia's challenge will be balancing quantity with effectiveness. Moreover, the potential economic strain might ironically serve as a recruitment tool. If domestic financial pressures force cuts to social spending, military jobs with steady pay could become more attractive to Russian citizens, helping sustain troop levels. With the rise of drone warfare, can sheer numbers still guarantee battlefield dominance? Ukraine has demonstrated time and again how inexpensive unmanned aerial vehicles can cripple expensive armored columns. A dozen tanks can quickly become smoking wrecks when caught off guard by well-coordinated drone strikes. So, will Russia's ambitious production of 1,500 tanks in 2025 be enough to counterbalance this growing threat? That remains uncertain. Without effective counter-UAV systems, Russia's tanks may still find themselves vulnerable. To back up these new armored forces, Russia will need to invest not just in numbers, but in the development of robust air defense and electronic warfare systems capable of detecting, jamming, or neutralizing drones before they strike. This includes greater integration of systems like the Krasuka 4 electronic warfare unit and the deployment of counter-drone rifles and radar jammers at the unit level. Does this mean Ukraine is fighting a losing battle? Not necessarily, but it underscores the urgency of sustained Western support. While Russia's defense sector grinds out tanks and artillery shells, Ukraine must rely heavily on international aid to maintain parity. The West's ability to match Russian production with technology, training, and logistical support will be pivotal. And what of Europe's own readiness? The International Institute for Strategic Studies warns that if U.S. military support pivots toward the Indo-Pacific, Europe could be left vulnerable. To defend itself without U.S. involvement, European nations would need to invest an additional $1 trillion. That's a figure which raises serious questions about the continent's preparedness for prolonged geopolitical instability. So what do you think? Can Russia truly lose on the battlefield and still emerge stronger in the long term? That's all for today. Thanks for watching.